For the past 5 years of being on the internet, I've noticed how Israel has been trying to erase, disrupt, and manipulate not only Palestinian history, but all Arab history, all Muslim history, trying to alter it and manipulate it. More importantly, trying to alter ancient history in order to justify its colonialism and its ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Ever since I noticed this, I've been arming myself with education, educating myself as much as possible on Arab history, Islamic history, and ancient history. One example of how Israelis try to alter history is through the idea that the Arabs came from the Arabian Peninsula and colonized the Levant with the spread of Islam, and that Palestinians descend from Arab colonizers. This is obviously not true. Not many people have an in-depth understanding of ancient history. The only way to understand and verify ancient history is through archaeology and genetic sampling. This is why I've immersed myself in research papers, studying data, studying human migrations, climate, and DNA. The first known civilization in the Levant were the ancient Canaanites. They lived in present-day Palestine and Lebanon. Another name for them is also the Phoenicians. This was during the Bronze Age, 2000 BCE to 1400 BCE. What people fail to understand is that modern-day Arabs are the direct descendants of the ancient Canaanites. In this recent genetic study that was done in 2023, thousands of genetic studies were sampled, where the closest Canaanite group were Saudis, followed by Bedouins, Palestinians, Egyptians, Jordanians, and Lebanese. As you can see, Israelis were not mentioned on this list. They are not related to the ancient Canaanites. Neither is any Mizrahi Jew group. Simply a Google search and you can see that Saudis genetically the most related to Canaanites. This tells us that the ancestors of most Saudis came from this area and then migrated downwards. Over 2,000 years ago, that is. The Canaanites were a Semitic-speaking civilization, but before them, there was the Natufians. The Natufian civilization also evolved from the Levant, between modern-day Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, over 20,000 years ago. During the Holocene, that's 10,000 years ago, the environment in the Middle East began to change. It became dry and arid, and so the Natufians began to migrate out of the Levant. Starting from this area, the Natufians migrated all around here. In recent genetic studies, the DNA of thousands of people across the Middle East and the African continent were taken. In the green, you can see the genetic makeup of Natufians and all people who came from the Levant. Their DNA has been spread across all of these groups of people. Where in green are the people who share ancestors of the early Holocene Levantines, who are the Natufians and the Canaanites. This was the impact of the Natufian DNA, where in red you can see the highest concentrations of Natufian DNA. And this is the DNA that composes of the Arab DNA, or the Arab admixture. This is the reconstruction of the remains found from a Natufian, and he basically looks like an Arab man. This video was just done for education purposes, so you can arm yourself with knowledge of ancient history, as I feel that the lack of this knowledge has been used to create division and separation. Everyone is welcome to go and do their own research on this. Please go online and read some research papers and educate yourself on ancient history. When I was doing my GCSEs and my A-levels at secondary school and sixth form, I was studying history, learning about World War I, World War II, learning about the axis of power, the Allies, the Holocaust, learning about the Nazis and concentration camps, learning of the horror stories that happened. Never in my life did I think that one day I'd be hearing these horror stories happen to my people. Never in my life did I think that the country that was teaching me how horrible concentration camps and the genocide was, that country, Britain, that was teaching me these things in school, was then going to be doing the exact same thing to my people. Israel has been putting Palestinians in concentration camps, handcuffing them, torturing them, and then massacring them. Please go read about it because it's disgusting and it's inhumane and it's vile. Britain and America are part of this. If you're British or American, your country is doing this. They are not only just complicit in weapons and aid to Israel. They are also taking part in the genocide. They are taking part in enacting, in creating these concentration camps. In 2020, a deal was signed between Britain and Israel. The exact details of this deal are unknown, but what is known is that the deal basically made Britain and Israel one army, where they act and perform as one. This is why currently Britain has the most pro-Israel government ever in history, because they both act as one army. Britain has been helping Israel from its base in Cyprus, and obviously because of AIPAC, America and Israel are one as well, with American forces on the ground in Gaza. That's why Aaron Bushnell did what he did, and yet it didn't make a difference. But the fact that Palestinian civilians are currently in Israeli concentration camps being tortured to death is something that is actually so ironic, because this is something that all three of these countries teach as the point of all evil, and yet they are all now committing this evil, and most of the British public are frankly unaware. I hope the British and American public finally wake up to this reality. Spain, Ireland and Norway have all announced that they will be recognizing the state of Palestine, which is a really historic moment for Palestine and for Palestinians everywhere. What these countries are doing is acknowledging Palestinian self-determination. They're basically acknowledging the existence of Palestinians. What they're basically saying is that Palestinians exist, the state of Palestine does exist, and Palestinians are human beings, because, you know, before they were these weird aliens that were stateless and non-existent, where Palestine didn't officially exist within Europe's terms. No, this is a very historic moment, and I'm very proud of Ireland, Norway and Spain for being humans. But don't you just find this ridiculous? It took 45,000 Palestinians' death. It took Palestine undergoing a genocide. It took Israel acting like monsters in front of the whole world for Europe to start recognizing Palestine, for Europe to start treating Palestinians like human beings, for Europe to acknowledge Palestinian existence. Isn't that wild? Doesn't that really tell you something about the West? That Palestinians have to suffer the ultimate cost. Palestinians have to be the ultimate victims. Tens of thousands of Palestinians had to be massacred in order for Europe to feel sorry for them and to treat them and finally view them as human beings. I'm not complaining. This is simply an observation. I'm so proud of Ireland, Spain and Norway. Thank you so much. And I'm pretty sure other countries will follow suit. This is an updated map as of today. The countries that recognize Palestine, with Spain, Ireland and Norway being added in light green. But wow, isn't it something? 45,000 plus Palestinians had to be murdered in order for Europe to get to this point.